World Series Report 71 with Joe Garagiola and Sandy Koufax. Brought to you by Texaco and the many thousands of Texaco retailers and distributors in all 50 states. Trust Texaco to have the right gasoline for you.
A standing ovation for Nelson Briles, the winning pitcher for Pittsburgh in that 5th game. Briles himself said that it was one of the most touching moments of his baseball career. When this fella throws a ball, he really puts a lot into it. Watch him now as he pitches to Paul Blair. This is the last out in that 5th game. Watch him fall to the left. There it is. Now he's being congratulated. And look at that affection shown by the catcher. Just fantastic. They take care of those pitchers. I'm Joe Garagiola, Sandy Koufax standing next to me. You see tickets for Game 6 and 7 if necessary. And Sandy, Jim Palmer pitching for Baltimore is really not too much of a surprise because he did beat him. He is the big man. But the choice of Moose by Danny Murtaugh, did that surprise you?
I don't think so, Joe. I think Danny realizes all he has to do is win 1 out of 2 games. I think Danny respects Jim Palmer. I think he believes that he's the only pitcher on the Baltimore staff who could shut out the Pirates. And if he pitched Blast today against Palmer, and Blast pitched a great game, a good ball game, maybe 1 run, 2 runs, he could get beat 2-1 or 1-0. But he figures that if he goes tomorrow, he's got him in a ball game where he thinks he'll get him at least 3 runs. If they beat Palmer today, he'll be very happy, but at least he's got another chance now.
You don't think it was that headline we saw? We saw a headline. I want to tell you about it. Loose moose set to cook bird's goose. That was really in a paper. In that 5th game, we saw another side of the Pittsburgh club, the speed. Now, the obvious way to see speed is a stolen base, but there are other ways. Take a look at this now. Manny Sanguillen, the fastest running catcher in baseball, steals second base. It's close.
You can see that Davy Johnson a little unhappy, but when you see the slow motion replay, you can see why the runner beat it. Watch his foot. His foot is into the bag, and Davy puts the tag up near the knee. And if you don't get the foot on a play like that, you can't get the man called out.
Nelson Briles is the batter, and Sanguillen on second because of the stolen base scores easily on this base hit by Briles, who helps his own cause. So that's the obvious way you see speed, the stolen base, and it paid off. Now here is Kleins at first base. Clemente is the batter. Now here is, sometimes you overlook this kind of speed. A hit-and-run play. Clemente hits a ground ball to the shortstop. He can't make the play at second, goes to first to get Clemente, and Kleins at second moved to third on an error and then scored on a wild pitch.
Here's another display of Klein's speed. He hit a ball into left center field. Blair, good jump on the ball, couldn't catch up with it to catch it, made a good play off the wall and got it to Belanger, who was the cutoff man. Mark looked the wrong way at first, couldn't believe that Kleins was going into third, and looked toward second base and couldn't get him at third.
Sandy, when you see that kind of speed, how did it affect you as a pitcher?
I think it affects your rhythm out on the mound. You tend to pitch a little faster. Maybe you try and hold the runner at first base a little longer. It breaks your concentration at home plate. And I think a lot of times it affects the catcher in his selection of pitches. I think the catcher is worried about the man stealing. He just calls for the fastball a little bit more often than you might like him to.
In just a couple of minutes, it'll be time for game number 6. It's been a good World Series. The first 2 games, Baltimore really took command, 1 to 2 games here in Baltimore, and it looked like with the pitching and the hitting that the series would end in 3 games the way they were going. But then they moved to Pittsburgh, and the Pittsburgh Pirates showed why they were the National League champions, winning the 3 games in Pittsburgh, and that's the way we stand today. Pirates have shown pitching, they've shown hitting, they've shown speed. Game number 6. Here in Baltimore, Jim Palmer against Bob Moose. And Sandy, I'm just curious, I've never been in that situation. What can a manager say to his ball club, like Earl Weaver would have to say to his club, that if they lose today, it's all over?
Joe, I've never been in the 6th game where it could be all over. I've been in the 7th, I've been in the 4th. And it's awfully difficult for a manager to say anything to his players. You've played 180 games at least, you know, and it seems like it's the end of a long year, and the only manager I ever played for was Walt Alston, and Walt would tell us that usually that he was proud of us for getting there, and it's an accomplishment to win your league, and If we won today, well, we've won it, or you got another chance tomorrow. And if we don't, to have a good winter, and see you in the spring.
Grown-ups talking to grown-ups. You want to pick a hero?
I don't think so. I think if it could be the last game, along with heroes, can also come goats, and I'd just as soon not pick either one when it's finally over.
Couldn't agree with you more. So, game number 6, if Baltimore wins it, we'll be back tomorrow. If not, you have a good winner.
Let's go back and review the heroes for the first 5 games of the 1971 World Series. In Game 1, it was Dave McNally who got the Orioles off to the start. He was the winning pitcher. Brooks Robinson in Game 2, on base 5 times in a row. Then Steve Blass with a brilliant 3-hitter for the Pirates, helped by a big home run by Bob Robertson. Young Bruce Keeson became the talk of the nation with his clutch relief pitching, and a big pinch hit single by Milt May. And then, in Game 5, a 2-hitter by Nelson Briles. And of course, all through this series, Roberto Clemente has been a standout. The leading hitter, his arm and his speed have given the Orioles something extra to think about. Who'll be the hero of Game 6? Well, we'll find out as NBC Sports, a service of NBC News, presents Game 6 of the 1971 World Series. The National League champs, the Pittsburgh Pirates, versus the American League champions, the Baltimore Orioles. Hi, everybody. Kurt Gowdy of NBC Sports. Chuck Thompson, the telecaster of the Baltimore Orioles. And down on the field will be NBC's Tony Kubek. It's cloudy today here in Baltimore. The weather's warm, and the cloudy day should help the hitters here with the White House background that we have in Baltimore. And, of course, the Orioles now are up against it. And there's no doubt about it. Pittsburgh has taken the play away from Baltimore. Over at Pittsburgh, the Pirates were more aggressive at the plate. The Orioles were taking too many pitches. The Pirates much more aggressive on the bases. And you know, the longer you're around sports, you realize you can't go by the book. Everybody said the Orioles were by far the superior fielding team. I thought I was watching Hannes Wagner and Pie Traynor over there in that Pittsburgh infield on Thursday, as the Pirates had been a much better fielding team. No alibi by the Orioles. They admit they have been outplayed, and they say we've got to do it ourselves here today. Let's take a look now at the starting pitchers. And it's up to Bob Moose and Jim Palmer. There's Bob Moose this year. He won 11 games. He lost 7. He won his last 4. Many experts are criticizing Danny Murtaugh for pitching Moose today. They think that Steve Blass should have gone, but Murtaugh's made some wonderful moves so far in this series. This is the 6th starter, by the way, for the Pirates in the series. And on the mound for Baltimore will be their 20-game winner, Jim Palmer, who won the 2nd game of this series in 8 innings. He was lifted and didn't finish the game, but was taken out with the Orioles having a big lead. So that's the way they set up. And now let's get the slants here of Mr. Chuck Thompson.
Thank you very much, Kurt. Good afternoon, everybody. I think in a word, Kurt, the story for Baltimore this afternoon is pressure. Do they handle it or do they not handle it? The history of the Oriole Ball Club has been, great and successful, but without any pressure. In other words, go back to '66 and the 4-game sweep over the Dodgers in the World Series. And then they came along in 1970 last year against the Cincinnati Reds and win it 4 games to 1. And they had things very easy, clinching pennants very early. They've won all of the championship series they've been in the American League. The only time the Oriole Ball Club has faced pressure was 1969 in the World Series against the New York Mets. They won the 1st game, they lost the 2nd game, and the pressure mounted, and the Orioles were not able to defeat the Mets in the only pressure series they have been in. I think that's the story here in Baltimore this afternoon, and perhaps Frank Robinson said it better than anyone else when he said, this afternoon we're going to separate the men from the boys. And now let's go down to Tony Kubek.
We'll be Frank Robinson. Frank, your broadcaster here with the Baltimore Orioles talked about pressure just a moment ago. Want to hear it right from your mouth. What about the pressure here on your ball club? Is there any?
Well, actually, Tony, I don't think we feel the pressure. It may be that the newspaper men and the fans feel the pressure, but we're professional ball players. We've gone through big ball games all season long and before, and we know what we have to do today.
Well, all the writers and a lot of other people that you've talked to have been coming to you, I know, and saying, what's the matter with the Orioles? I think they're sometimes forgetting to give the credit where some of the credit belongs. The Pirates have played a good series so far.
The Pirates have played a good series, Tony, actually, and we haven't played our type of game at all, and even in the 2 games that we won. Our hitting overcame our defense, and the pitching held the Pirates hitters down and held them off. And the last 3 ball games, the pitching hasn't been bad, but we haven't scored any runs, we haven't hit. And we've been playing bad defense through the whole series. And again, we just feel like today we're going to put our game together and get back on the winning track.
You know, Frank, one more quick question. The press release this morning that came out in the Baltimore papers, it's been said of you, you're going to be the first black manager. You are highly qualified, black or white. Today you came out with a statement saying you don't want to manage. Why the change of heart?
Well, actually, Tony, I've been thinking about this all year. My last year in Puerto Rico, I said in spring training that this was a year I was going to really think about whether I wanted to manage or not when I'm through as an active player, and I've been thinking about this off and on all year, and this is the decision I've come to. Right now, I really don't want to manage any ball club in the major leagues or even in the minor leagues. I just want to continue to play next year as an active player, and maybe after that, and see what comes about. But I hope maybe to stay in baseball in some capacity, maybe when I'm through as an active player. But right now, I don't feel like managing is what I want to do.
One quick question, will there be a game tomorrow?
Well, as far as the Baltimore Orioles is concerned, it will be a game tomorrow. We feel like we're going to win today. We felt like we was going to win the day before yesterday, Tony. But we are very confident in ourselves. Like I say, there's no pressure, and we feel like it will be a game tomorrow.
Frank Robbins, thank you so much. Good luck.
Thank you.
The series comes back to Memorial Stadium. The Orioles with 2 more days to prove they're what Earl Weaver proudly calls and sincerely believes the best damn team in baseball. No team in recent history has come into a series with finer credentials. 100 or more victories 3 straight years. And now we're going to have the ceremonial first pitch. And the honor here goes to Rube Marquardt, a Hall of Famer, one of the outstanding left-handed pitchers of all time. He's 82 years old. He lives now in Baltimore. And he holds a record that pitchers have been trying to shoot for year after year after year. The most consecutive victories in one season. In 1912, Rube Marquardt won 19 in a row. He won 201 games in the National League. He was a free spirit and a fellow who really enjoyed baseball. There he goes. All right, the 6th game of the 1971 World Series being brought to you from Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland, as the Pittsburgh Pirates meet the Baltimore Orioles. The umpires in today's game: John Kibler behind the plate, Nestor Shylock at first, Ed Sudol at second, John Rice at third. Ed Varga will be umpiring the left field line, and Jim Odom the right field line. No wind today. It's overcast. The Orioles take the field. And now to take over the first 4.5 innings, play-by-play, to set up the Orioles defensively for you, is the voice of the Baltimore Orioles, Chuck Thompson.
Thank you very much, Kurt Gowdy, and good afternoon, everybody. Here, the Orioles defensively, Powell at first base. And the Orioles' second baseman is Dave Johnson. And the fellow they call the Blade, Mark Belanger, the shortstop. And the Oriole third baseman, Brooks Robinson. In left field is Don Buford. The center fielder today is Merv Rettenmund. And in right field, it's Frank Robinson. Catching in Game 6, Elrod Hendricks. And on the mound is Jim Palmer. He started the second game of the series. He won it 11-3. He won 8 innings, allowed 3 runs, a Rich Hebner home run, 7 hits, 8 walks, 10 strikeouts. And as I mentioned, it was Rich Hebner's 3-run home run in the 8th inning that deprived Palmer of his shutout. Well, this is World Series game number 400. In Baltimore, Game 6, Palmer's pitch to Dave Cash. Powell should make the play. 1 ball. Cash had a World Series average of 143. It had 3 hits and 21 trips. Now here is Rich Hebner, and that's his seasonal average for the Pirates that you're looking at right now in the series. Hebner is a .250 hitter. He's been up there 8 times with 2 base hits. One of those 2, however, was a 3-run home run off this man, Palmer, and he too is first ball hitting, and Rettenmund is waiting for him.
Well, the Pirates going after that first pitch, their first ball hitting team. But here's one man who's not. Let's watch Clemente now. He does not like to go for the first pitch. Maybe he will, though. We'll see, though. Normally he doesn't.
Kurt, Clemente is hitting .429 in the series, and unfortunately, I do not get to see as much National League Baseball as I would like to. The only chance I have a chance to see Clemente and Aaron Mays and those fellows is on your game of the week. And I just have to say this, Kurt, that if Aaron and Mays are any better than Roberto Clemente, then they deserve a very special place in the Hall of Fame. This man has just impressed me so much that I'll never forget Clemente. A ball 1 to him, and as you said, he does not like to go for the first pitch. He can do everything so well. Now a ball 2. He runs well. He's got a magnificent arm. Defensively, he does it all. And what a hitter. Now, that's not to say that Mays and Aaron are any less than a Clemente, but certainly, how can they be any better? We're watching Buford, and he cannot get to it. Here is Clemente again, on his way for 3. Belanger off the mark, and Clemente has tripled.
Boy, how that man can run for 37 years old. Here's his swing now. Notice how he cocks that leg right over the plate to him. Palmer grooved it. Clemente's been hitting the ball mostly to right field, only once to left. But he pulls that ball. He'll pull the pitch over the plate in the inside pitch. Roberto Clemente's 10th hit, and he's been the outstanding player in this 1971 World Series.
He's got a chance of being the outstanding player in baseball. Now here is Clemente's slide into third base, and the throw from Belanger was way off target. And now here is Stargell in a ball 1. Willie is hitting .250. The triple by Clemente means he is now hit in 13 consecutive World Series games.
And Chuck, let's repeat again the all-time record. Clemente can't break it in this series. Hank Bauer hit safely 17 World Series games in a row.
And a ball 2 to Willie Stargell. Among the memories of this World Series, I will remember the greeting that this man got when we played the first game in Pittsburgh. He had but 1 hit here in Baltimore in 2 games, and what an ovation he got from the Pirate fans the first time he came to the plate. Something I'll remember for a long time. And the count is 3-0 to Stargell. Clemente at third base, and the Pirates again have got something going. Now it's 3-1. As a matter of fact, only in 3 innings did the Pirates go 3 up and 3 down. In Pittsburgh in the 3-game set out there. They had something going every inning. 3-2 to Stargell. In the second inning of the 4th game and in the 3rd and the 8th innings of the 3rd game, the Pirates were 3 up and 3 down. Other than that, they had something going every inning. Who couldn't stop the swing? A big strikeout. The Pirates, no runs, 1 base hit, no Oriole errors, 1 man left on. And so at the middle of the 1st inning, the score is Pittsburgh 0 with Baltimore coming to bat. Now defensively, first baseman Bob Robertson, and the second baseman is Cash. Shortstop for the Pirates is Hernandez, and at third base, Rich Hebner. Out in left field, Willie Stargell, and the center fielder is Al Oliver. And the right fielder, the one and only, Clemente. Catching, Manny Sanguillen. And on the mound is Bob Moose. Well, the Orioles. Buford, Johnson, Powell are the 2 batters to Bob Moose. 1-0 to Buford. Base hit. Well, Bob Moose, who just gave up the hit to leadoff swinger Buford, has been used twice in relief in this series, working in both previous games here in Baltimore. He pitched 3 2/3 innings in the first game, a run and 3 hits, and 1 was a home run by Buford. And then an inning in the second game, and he gave up 5 runs and 5 hits. And that was a game when everything Baltimore hit seemed to find an opening. Well, Hebner, 1, 2.
Taylor-made double play ball. Hebner over to Cash. Cash has been doing some outstanding pivoting in this series as the middleman on that double play. Here's Buford going on into him. And Cash has hung right in there around the bag and nimbly hopped or skipped or tumbled out of the way and completed his throw to first.
Boog Powell, 2 out, nobody on, no score. Bottom of the first inning. Powell in the series hitting 111. Watching Clemente, he broke in on the ball and then corrects himself and makes the catch for the final out. Baltimore, no runs, 1 base hit. There were no Pittsburgh errors and nobody left on. At the end of 1 inning of play, it is Pittsburgh nothing and Baltimore nothing.
Osiak coaching at third for the Pirates, Leopard at first. You saw Clemente. Here's the way he makes his basket catch. He's sensitive about it. He was accused of trying to copy Willie Mays when he first came up, but that's always been his natural way of catching the ball.
Here is Oliver as we go to the Pirate half of the second inning, and Oliver hitting .214 in this series. 3 hits and 14 trips. Kurt?
I'll say when Palmer got Stargell up there, those last 2 fastballs he threw were the hardest he's thrown in the World Series. He really reached back to get him out.
Well hit. Frank Robinson. And now see the throw to second base, and Oliver will beat it without too much trouble. So again, the Pirates continue what they have done in almost every inning of play here in the World Series, particularly the last 3 games, to be a little more accurate. Keep pressure on Baltimore pitching, base runners just about every inning. A leadoff double by Oliver. Pirates 2 hits now, Clemente's triple and Oliver's double. Base hit, Buford charging, Oliver around third, headed home. Here's the throw. Nowhere near it. Pirates lead 1-0.
It's up to Jim Palmer. But in the second, Pittsburgh's big gunner, Bob Robertson, behind the double by Oliver, knocks in the first run of the game. Clearly, Palmer isn't the overpowering pitcher he can be.
Robertson at first base with his 5th run batted into the series, and there is Earl Weaver to talk to Jim Palmer, and he will be joined by Elrod Hendricks.
I'll tell you something, your fastball isn't as good as it was the other day. Concentrate on getting the other stuff and keep yourself in here. Come on. 1 run ain't going to do it. That's just what we need to wake us up. But go after him. Come on, Jim.
One of the comments that Oriole players made about this 6th game was how hopeful they were that they could get on the board early. They felt that was important to score early in this contest. Well, the Pirates have beaten them to the punch, which is something they have done with alarming consistency over the last 3 games.
And the Pirates are really running the bases aggressively now. That ball was hit hard, as you saw, on 1 hop. Many teams might have held Oliver at third. They waved him right on, and he beat the throw easily.
And we are, I think, going to get some bullpen activity for Baltimore. Another base hit.
Well, Palmer appears to have good stuff, but he must be making some bad pitches in there. They're teeing off on him in this inning.
One of the comments that sometimes is made in a situation like this is the fact that perhaps Palmer could be, and this might be unfair criticism, but he could be pitching a bit too cautiously. There's the bunt. Palmer's play to third. They got him.
Fine fielding play by Palmer. There's Leonard, the right-hander, Jackson, the left-hander. Hard to bunt on Palmer. He can get off that mound. He has cat-like ability.
And would be classed, I'm sure, as the finest defensive pitcher the Orioles have, but his fielding is his position. He's as good as anything Baltimore has to offer. And now here's pitcher Bob Moose. Powell fields the bunt, no play at second, back to first. The sacrifice moves the runners up. This telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and is intended solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Commissioner of Baseball is prohibited. Well, Johnson and center fielder Redmond should be second baseman Johnson. That's it for the final out. But the Pirates pick up 1 run on 3 base hits, no Oriole errors, and 2 men are left. At the end of an inning and a half, the score is Pittsburgh 1 and Baltimore nothing. Well, very quickly, a look at the Baltimore coaches. George Staller, the first base coach, and at third base is Billy Hutter. Well, the Pirates score first. And the Orioles now have gone 18 consecutive scoreless innings against Pittsburgh's pitching, which was not supposed to be able to match Baltimore's pitching. That's the 71 series figures in Frank Robinson. 2 home runs, 2 runs batted in. 2 strikes. Good. Breaking stuff from Moose. One gone, bottom of the second inning. And the batter is Merv Rettenmund, a .222 hitter in the series. And one of his hits a home run. He has knocked in 4. Shortstop Hernandez. 2 down in the Orioles' second inning. And here is Brooks Robinson, a .375 batter in the World Series with 4 runs batted in. And he also has committed 2 errors. Bob Robertson makes the play unassisted. The Orioles 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 2 complete innings, the score is Pittsburgh 1 and Baltimore nothing. As the Pirates come on in the top of the third inning, it will be Rich Hebner, then Clemente, and then Willie Sargent against Jim Palmer. And I'm sure that the pressure, if Palmer feels it, and he'd have to feel some of it, does not get any better when he watched the futility of the Orioles' swings. Strike 1 to Hebner. Well, Dave Johnson making a move. The center fielder and the shortstop are also in your picture. It'll be the shortstop Belanger, and we have the first out in the top of the third inning. Here now is Roberto Clemente. He is hit safely now in 13 consecutive World Series games. He tripled in the Pirate first inning. He just hit a ripping shot into the alley in left center field.
I don't think any batter in recent times has ever hit the ball harder or more viciously to right field than this right-handed batter Clemente. We've seen him a lot of hits in this series to right and back Frank Robinson up to the wall several times.
Well, Frank's got to make a move on this one. It's gone. Home run Clemente, and the Pirates 2, the Orioles nothing. And what a magnificent performance from Pittsburgh's right fielder, the great Roberto Clemente.
Watch him. They've been pitching him outside. He'll drive that ball with power, as we were saying. And now a homer in the third. Roberto going with a pitch and sailing it over Frank Robinson's head. It's his 11th hit and first homer of the series. And the Pirates lead 2-0.
And the Pirates continue to do what they did in Pittsburgh. Aggressively attack the ball. Now the 1-1 pitch to Sargent. Palmer's curve. Belanger to Powell. 2 gone. First Tuesday has changed. It's now a chronologue, and we'll still examine the new and unusual stories that make the headlines. Join Garrett Utley and watch chronologue this Friday night right here on NBC. And the payoff pitch to Al Oliver. Second baseman Dave Johnson to Powell for the final out. But the Pirates have scored again. 1 run, 1 base hit, no Oriole errors, and nobody left. At the end of 2 1/2 innings, it is Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore nothing. Well, if Game 7 is necessary in the World Series, it comes your way tomorrow afternoon at 1:30 Eastern Daylight Time. And then football, Cleveland at Cincinnati, San Diego at Denver. And in the Oriole third inning, Elrod Hendricks, Mark Belanger, and Jim Palmer. 1-1 to Hendricks. Here's Bob Robertson, and another unassisted putout. Incidentally, if there will be no Game 7, if there is no Game 7, there will be a doubleheader, football doubleheader on NBC tomorrow.
Number 7, Mark Belanger.
Well, Belanger breaks the string as Moose has issued his first walk. And now Jim Palmer. Coming into this inning now, the Orioles have not been able to score in the last 19 consecutive innings, and for that matter, they have picked up only 4 hits over the last 19 consecutive innings, coming into this one. That's about as futile as you can get. Here is Palmer. Well, Belanger will reach second on the sacrifice bunt by Jim Palmer. Two out, and Buford, who homered against Bob Moose earlier in this series. 2-2, the count to Buford. How about that for a pitch? For the Orioles in their half of the third, no runs, no hits, a man left on at the end of 3 complete innings. The score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore nothing.
Yeah, there's a World Series game tomorrow. We'll have baseball, then a 4 o'clock pro football game between Cincinnati and Cleveland. If no World Series tomorrow, football doubleheader. And there you see the lineup for the first games, followed by either Cleveland at Cincinnati or San Diego at Denver. 2-0, Pittsburgh ahead, inning number 4, and Chuck Thompson.
Here is Bob Robertson. He singled to knock in the Pirates' first run of the ball game in the second inning, and Palmer starts him with a ball 1. Kind of a fellow you'd say he's got muscles on top of muscles. Another base hit. Well, the Pirates continue their trademark, almost a trademark, of at least a hit an inning. Now a total of 6 off the offerings of Jim Palmer. Here is Manny Sanguillen. How about that for a record? Hit over 305 of his 7 pro seasons.
You know, Chuck, when a team gets a man on base every inning of the game, it's unusual. The Pirates now have had men on base 18 innings in a row.
Boog Powell making a move, and we'll see whether or not he has a play. Apparently he will have a play. And that's the first out of the inning. Baltimore is getting some more activity started in their bullpen. It's the same duo that we mentioned earlier. Dave Leonard, a right-hander, and Grant Jackson, a left-hander.
I think this Hernandez has been the surprise player of the series, Chuck.
Well, I don't think many Baltimore people expected he would hit better than 300 in this World Series. And he certainly is doing that. There's Palmer's curveball. When Palmer can throw that pitch for strikes, then Palmer is a very tough pitcher. That's strikeout number 2 for Palmer.
Bob Moose.
Here is pitcher Bob Moose. Called upon to sacrifice in the second inning. He did so. Powell for the unassisted putout and the final out in the Pirate half of the 4th. No runs, 1 base hit, no errors, and a man left. At the end of 3 1/2, the score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore nothing. Let's go to Tony Kubek.
You know, as Roberto Clemente stepped to the plate the last time up before he hit his home run, there were a lot of people here in Baltimore that rose to their feet, gave him a good hand, as admiring his great ability. And it seemed kind of strange to me that some of these people have never had an opportunity to see Roberto Clemente before, and I think that was a great promotion for possible interleague play. Let's go back upstairs.
Well, the Orioles in the bottom of the fourth inning start with second baseman Dave Johnson hit into a double play in the first inning. One away. Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, Dean Martin. Pretty good lineup of talent in any league, and each will host his own golf tournament that will be seen here on NBC early next year. Shortstop Hernandez in shallow right center, and he's got for the second out. Here is Frank Robinson. He struck out against Moose in the second inning. Clemente. That's the final out at the end of 4 complete innings of play. The score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore nothing.
The batter, number 30, Dave Cash.
Here we go to the top of the 5th inning and the top of the Pirate batting order. Dave Cash, Rich Hebner, and Clemente again. Cash has twice popped out this afternoon, to first and to second baseman. One away. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Number 20, Richie Hebner.
3-2 to Hebner. That's a ball 4. A ball 4. And Weaver will protest. And Weaver is going to ask of the plate umpire, Kibler, that he verify it with one of the base umpires. Well, the dispute continues. And Weaver is going to go back to the dugout. But a ball 4 on the check swing to Hebner.
And as Roberto Clemente steps in, he's getting a hand. He has a chance if this series goes 6 or 7 at all-time records. The most hits by a player in the 6-game series, 12 by Billy Martin in '53. Clemente now has 11 hits so far. And 13 hits is a record for a 7-game series.
Well, Clemente this afternoon has just tripled and homered in 2 plate appearances. And the ball. Starting with the second game of the series, the Pirates have had at least one man on in 35 of their 38 innings. That's incredible. Ball 1 to Clemente. Palmer missing with a curveball. Out of play.
Fans might want to take a look at the body of this man. You can almost put your hands around his waist. He weighs about 185. You've seen him stripped from the waist up. A marvelous chest and shoulders, long limber muscles. I'd call it almost a perfect body for an athlete.
1 ball, 1 strike to Clemente. The runner at first is Hebner. 1 out. Let's see if Rettenman can track this one down. And he does. And quite a few thousand fans in Baltimore collectively heave a sigh of relief as Clemente goes to the dugout for a change. 2 down. And here is Stargell, who struck out and grounded to shortstop in 2 previous turns. Palmer fastball to retire Stargell. No runs, no hits, and a man left at the end of 4 1/2 innings. The score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore nothing. Well, we're ready to go now to the Oriole half of the fifth inning with the Pirates leading 2-0 on the scoreboard and 3-2 in games. And it is our pleasure to turn you over to NBC's Curt Gowdy. Curt?
Thank you, Chuck. Merv Rettenman grounded a shorty first time. Then Brooks Robinson and Ellie Hendricks against Bob Moose, who pitched a one-hit, four-inning shutout. Ground ball. Dave Cash brilliantly picked it up. His throw, he's got him. That's what the Pirates have been doing the entire series. Young Dave Cash.
Let's look at the Cash play once again. And notice that he did not hurry himself after getting to the ball. He took the time to set up and make the good throw and have something on it. And now let's watch Dave again. And watch again that he didn't rush this at all. He just took his time and got set up and then made the good throw. He'll continue. All right.
Brooks Robinson has a base hit to right field. Robinson is grounded out to first in his first hit. That's the second hit now for the Orioles. The Pirates have 6 hits. Ellie Hendricks grounded out his first time. There's a drive into left center. Over for it goes Al Oliver. Flags it down. Robinson plays halfway and goes back to first. Mark Belanger walked his first time.
Number 7, Mark Belanger.
He's had only 3 hits in 17 times. Ball 4, and the Orioles have runners on first and second. It's been rare for them lately. While we wait for Palmer to come up, I want to remind you that the Magic Kingdom of Walt Disney's World comes to life with help from Julie Andrews, Jonathan Winters, Lynn Campbell, and Bob Hope in a very special Friday night, October 29th, right here on NBC. Jim Palmer sacrificed his first time.
Number 22, Jim Palmer.
Struck him out on a curveball. Bob Moose pitches out of the jam. No runs for Baltimore. 1 hit, there were no errors, and 2 men left. We've gone 5 innings. It's the Pirates 2 and the Orioles nothing. We had an interesting thing happen while we were away on a commercial. This girl you see here in the ground crew, Linda Wareheim, makes the circuit and usually comes over and dusts off, that's Davy Johnson, dusts off the shoes of the third base coach. That's Al Oliver fouling the ball out. Most of the, well, in fact, everyone I've seen always sort of gets into the act. But in the second game when the Pirates were losing, Frank Oshiak wasn't too happy there at third. And today he didn't come out in his third base coaching position until the girl had left the field, and he was roundly booed when he did appear. Oliver hits a fly ball out to Buford. 1 down. Al Oliver had previously doubled and grounded out. Bob Robertson. Single and a run in the second. Single to left in the fourth. Both times he's hit line drives. 1 out, nobody on. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Bob Robertson. There's a line shot to Belanger, and we're 2 down. Happy-go-lucky Manny Sanguillen coming up. Single to left, fouled out. This fella could go 0 for 14 in a game, make 7 errors, 15 bad throws, and the next day would still have a grin on his face. Chopper to short. He can run. Belanger's throw. Safe. Foul pointing that he was. Hattie, watch this.
Well, we'll take another look at it. And Belanger was powerless. He couldn't get to the ball on the high hop. But here is your play at first base. And he is safe.
Sanguillen, the fastest running catcher in the big leagues, on. They always compare him to Mickey Crockett, another catcher who could run when he first came up. was John Roseboro of the Dodgers.
Number 2, Jackie Hernandez.
Pop up, shallow right center. Davy Johnson going out, and the Oriole second baseman has it. No runs for the Pirates. 1 hit, there were no errors, 1 left at the end of 5 1/2. It's Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore nothing. The Orioles have now gone scoreless 22 innings in a row, and they have Buford, Johnson, and Powell, the top of their order, up in the last of the 6th. Buford has singled and struck out. He has one of the 2 hits off Bob Moose. A high drive deep to right field. That one is going. It is gone. A home run.
Here is the Buford swing that gives Baltimore their first run on their 3rd base hit. For such a little fella, as you see, he generates a tremendous amount of power.
But in the 6th, Buford opens with a home run on a 3-2 pitch. The first extra base hit by Baltimore in 26 innings. It's 2-1 now, and the bullpen gets busy.
Dave Johnson has hit into a double play and bounced out. The score now, Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 1. A chopper charging. Hebner can't handle it. Johnson safe.
Well, here is something you've not seen much of in this Oriole-Pittsburgh series. A miscue on the part of a Pirate infielder. And you see it was right off the heel of Hebner's glove. And he has been charged with an error. And if ever the Orioles needed a spark, needed something to turn them around, it is, of course, here in this game. And it would appear that this could be, it could be the spark that could start them.
That's just the 2nd error by the Pirates in the series. The first in the infield. Al Oliver in the outfield committed the other error. Boog Powell up. And it's a base hit in the right field. Johnson's coming to 3rd. Powell's on 1st. Clemente throws to Robertson, who cuts it off. And the Orioles have runners on 1st and 3rd, nobody out. That ball just eluded Bob Robertson, who's made some very fine fielding plays in this series at first base.
Well, you can take a look at it again, a game of inches, and this one just does get by Robertson, who is a very good fielding first baseman. Just got under the glove, and the Orioles, who definitely needed some kind of a break, some bit of help to turn them around, seem to have picked it up here in this last half of the 6th inning, starting with a Buford home run, and then one of the most infrequent Pirate mistakes in this series. And let's face it, errors are a part of the ball game, and Hebner had one just trickle off the glove. Now Powell is singled, and now the Orioles have the tying run 90 feet away, and Frank Robinson at the plate. And I believe that Burden has already signed to the bullpen, and he would want the right-hander Bob Johnson.
Boog finally beats the stacked right side. Clemente comes up firing.
Your attention, please. Now pitching for Pittsburgh, number 27, Bob Johnson.
Robert Dale Johnson, who started the 2nd game of this series, was knocked out early this year, won 9, lost 10. His big win of the year was in the playoffs against the Giants when he beat him 2-1 at Pittsburgh. In that game, too, he pitched only 3 in the 3rd innings, allowing 4 runs, 4 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 1. Well, the Orioles now have runners on 1st and 3rd, nobody out. You just saw Dave Johnson at 3rd, Boog Powell at 1st. Buford led off with a homer. Last of the 6th inning, and the Pirates are leading 2-1. Frank Robinson has struck out and lined to right. And this is the Orioles' big chance. Merv Retman will follow Frank Robinson to the plate. He pops it up. He went after the first pitch and popped it to the shortstop, Hernandez. 1 away. Irv Rettman coming up now. He's grounded to short and grounded to second. Strike to Rettman. Bluffed a bunt. He's got strike 2 on him. He's out. A fastball cut the corner to him. And Bob Johnson has come in to get Robinson on a pop-up. Look at Weaver. Ooh. Trying an egg in the back of his neck right now. And Rettman on a strikeout. So far, marvelous clutch relief pitching by Bob Johnson. Weaver is going to be fit to be tied if they don't get this man in from third this inning. And it's hit to third. Hebner goes over to Cash, and Bob Johnson comes in and does a fantastic relief job. Look at this. Earl Weaver down the runway, frustrated. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 2 left. And at the end of 6, Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 1.
Now pitching for Pittsburgh, number 27, Bob Johnson.
In this jam, Bob Johnson, ineffective as a starter, does a superb job. After Frank Robinson pops out, Rettman strikes out. And Brooks Robinson becomes the third out. The Pirates still lead after 6, 2-1.
Bob Johnson, a strike to him. Must be getting some standing rounds of applause around the homes of the Pittsburgh area. Ground ball to short. Belanger throws Johnson out. Boy, what a job he did coming in there with runners on first and third, nobody out, and getting Frank Robinson, Rettman, and Brooks Robinson out. 1 down in the 7th inning. The Pirates hanging on to a 2-1 lead.
Number 30.
Dave Cash popped up twice, grounded to short. Hit on a hop to Belanger. 2 down. Palmer appears to be in the groove now, Chuck.
He certainly seems to have hit the stride. He has thrown many more curveball strikes, and the fastball apparently is still, pretty active, and has pitched a whole lot better since the 3rd inning than he had through the first 3.
Richie Hebner has flied to center, popped to short, and walked. He's got a ground ball and back a second. There's where Belanger was playing in, and Belanger made all the plays in the 7th inning. The Orioles are coming up for their 7th inning stretch, and the score is still Pittsburgh 2, Baltimore 1. The Orioles send up the bottom third of their order in the last of the 7th. Ellie Hendricks, Mark Belanger, and Jim Palmer against Bob Johnson. Well, a pop-up. Willie Stargell coming in, the left fielder. 1 away. Well, it's always the thrills of the big top, and Ed McMahon has your front row seat reserved for the Timex All-Star Circus Tuesday night right here on NBC. Belanger has walked twice. Dave Justy is the warm-up pitcher in the Pittsburgh bullpen, their ace reliever. There's a ground ball into right field for a base hit. Jim Palmer is on the on-deck, so he's going to bat. Palmer will hit for himself. They're probably having up their bunting. Get that tying run down to second. And the way he's been going the last 4 innings, Weaver probably figures he can't bring anybody in any better.
And that's the age-old rule of baseball, is it, Kurt? If you haven't got anything better in the bullpen, stay with what you've got.
Hebner creeping in at third. Ball 2. Sanjian hopping on that one.
And in that pitch, the bunt apparently was not in order. Well, they look for it again.
It's the first time we've seen Murtaugh up and showing some emotion. 2 balls and a strike. Ball 3, 3-1 for Jim Palmer. Weaver saying to Billy Hunter, go down there and talk to him now. Let's be sure we're straightened out. The 3-1 pitch. Strike 2, 3-2 to Jim Palmer. Palmer's giving Johnson a workout. Strike 3, he's out. Palmer thought it was a ball. Weaver's unhappy. Murtaugh settled back down again. 2 down. Don Buford has singled, struck out, and hit a home run. He has 2 of the 5 Baltimore hits. The Pirates have 7 hits. They're leading 2-1, Pittsburgh is. The 2-1 pitch. There goes the runner. High to throw. He's in there with a stolen base.
Now here is the steal of second. Sanguillen's throw bounces. Belanger had the great jump and is in with Baltimore's first stolen base of the series. Belanger steals, and we're now going to have Bill Verdon come out and talk with Bob Johnson. And the Orioles continue to try to mount some kind of pressure, and Palmer has pitched exceedingly well over the last few innings and held the Pirates to only 2 runs in hopes that Baltimore can somehow start something and get caught up.
I think he wants Justy out of that bullpen. Dave Justy, who saved 30 games for the Pirates this year. He saved more games than anyone else in the National League, and they want him now. So Justy will come on the pitch, and while he makes his way in, we'll tell you the score here in the last half. The 7th is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore 1.
Well, as you see, Dave Justy has come in from the bullpen, and while he warms, let's go to Tony Kubek.
Well, if the manager has a game plan in baseball, the game plan for Danny Murtaugh was to get 5 strong innings out of his starting pitcher, Bob Moose. That he did, and then when Moose got in trouble, Bob Johnson came on in the 6th to get the Pirates out of a lot of trouble. It seems like it's someone different in every ball game for the Pirates picking up the slack. It was Keeson in one ball game. Of course, Roberto Clemente has led this team along all the way. We've had some great shots in the dugouts of the managers. There's a lot of money at stake, as you well know, almost $20,000. Earl Weaver has been very upset. He's tried to arouse and exhort his men to get off their backs and come back up. But every time it looks like the Orioles are going to come back, somebody from the Pirates comes up and puts them right back down. Let's see if Justy can do it right here. Back upstairs.
And our score here in Game 6 of the World Series, the Pirates are leading 2-1. If they hold this lead, they win the series. Belanger is at second base. The count is 3-1 to Don Buford. It's ball 4, and the walk is charged to Bob Johnson, the preceding pitcher. Justy came in behind in the count. So Johnson logged an inning and 2/3, gave up 1 hit, no runs. He's responsible for the 2 men on. He struck out 2, walked 1. Dave Johnson hit into a double play, bounced to the pitcher, reached in an error. He hasn't had the ball out of the infield. 2 down, runners on first and second in the last of the 7th. And there's a soft line in the left field for a base hit. Belanger comes in, ties it up. Scarzo threw behind the runner at second. Dave Justy comes in to complete a walk to Buford, and Dave Johnson crosses him up. A soft liner over short for the tying hit. Dave Johnson Singles to left. Scoring Belanger from second. Stargell threw behind the runner. He does that. He and Clemente will throw behind runners. He tried to nip Buford at second, but couldn't do it. He knew he didn't have a play at the plate. Boog Powell flied out, popped up, and singled to right. So we're in a tie game now, 2-2, last half the seventh. They have a shift on for Powell. He hits a high drive to left field. Willie Stargell camped under it, and that's it. Baltimore tied it with 1 run. 2 hits. No Pittsburgh errors and 2 left. At the end of 7, the score, Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore 2. Now we're in the 8th inning at Baltimore's Memorial Stadium. And the Pirates send up Clemente, Stargell, and Oliver, the heart of their batting order, in the 8th. Clemente tripled to left center in the first, hit a home run to right field in the 3rd, lined out to center field in the 5th. Oh, he's hit the ball to every field in this game. He's getting a hand now every time up. Baltimore fans know a ball player when they see one.
And I'll tell you, they know that they have seen one in Roberto Clemente. He's impressed me as much as any ball player I've ever seen.
He has been very outspoken all of his career. He says what he thinks. He hits a high fly into left center. Calling for it is Don Buford. Got it. 1 down. Clemente had criticized the playing field here, that it's a bad ballpark. I asked him again today. That's what I mean, that it is. My opinion. Willie Stargell has struck out, grounded out, struck out. 0 for 3. 3-2 pitch. Change up. That one's hit deep to left. Buford going back. He's got it. Two down. Al Oliver, double to right.
Number 16.
Grounded out, fly to left.
Oliver.
These Pirates continue to hit the ball all over. Right-handers to right, left-handers to left. There's a drive into right center. Retman moves under it, and he gets them out. 1, 2, 3. And the Oriole fans roars. Jim Palmer comes back into the Oriole dugout. At the end of 7.5 innings, the game is tied 2-2. Last of the 8th inning, Frank Robinson leads off for the Orioles. He struck out, line to right, and he popped up with runners on 1st and 3rd and nobody out on the 6th. He'll be followed by Retman and Brooks Robinson. A strike to him on a curveball. Ball and 2 strikes. They're feeding Robinson nothing but breaking stuff today. Got him on a fastball. 1 away in the last of the 8th. Verv Retman has grounded to short, grounded to second, and struck out.
Number 14. Verv Retman.
On the corner for strike 2. Look at Weaver. I'm glad I can't read lips. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Retman. And he strikes out on an off-speed curve. Robinson and Retman have been stopped cold in the number 4 and 5 spot in the Baltimore order. Brooks Robinson is grounded to first, single to right, hit into a force play. 1 out of 3. Ground ball, Dave Cash up within his throw. He still got him. Dave Cash hung in with it and got a lucky roll up his arm for that one.
Well, we'll have an opportunity to see this see this one again, and again I point to the fact that this young man at second base, Dave Cash, does not get rattled. He does not hurry himself. He takes his time and makes very certain of the play. A very cool, very professional performance. And so, at the end of 8 complete innings, the score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore 2.
Bob Robertson leads off with the Pirates in the 9th inning against Jim Palmer. We've had a lot of phone calls come into Baltimore and telegrams. I want to explain something. Ball to Chuck Thompson earlier said that no team has ever lost the first 2 games of the series and then won 4 in a row, and he was correct. No team has ever lost the first 2 games and then come back to capture 4 straight and win the series. 4 times teams foul ball. 4 times in series history a club has won the series 4 games to 3 after losing the first 2, but they haven't done it by winning 4 straight. We want to clarify that. There's been a lot of calls and telegrams coming in. 2-2 to Bob Robertson, top of the 9th inning. The Oriole fans thought that was strike 3. So did Hendricks. Weaver's got his cap off. He's been a wild man over there in that dugout the last 3 innings. He doesn't think his club's getting the pitches. 3-2 to Robertson. Struck him out in the fastball. A 4th strikeout for Palmer. He has walked only 1 in this game. That was in the 5th. He got in the groove after the 4th inning. Manny Sanguillen has singled, fouled out, and singled. Palmer now has retired 8 in a row. Nothing on 1 to Sanguillen. As usual, going for that first pitch. There they are, Eddie Watt, the right-hander, and Rickert, the left-hander. One ball, 1 strike. This game tied 2-2, top of the 9th. And for you Baltimore fans, the Orioles in the last of the 9th have the bottom of the order up: Hendricks, Belanger, and Palmer.
In the 9th, the Orioles go for the tiebreaker. Buford with Belanger on first and 2 out. And only a good play by Clemente keeps Belanger from scoring. Mark, come on, we can do it. This is our part of the game. Show them how we did it all year. So it's up to Dave Johnson. Jackie Hernandez recovers, and that's out number 3. We're going into extra innings.
This will be argued by Baltimore fans. That could have been the ball game.
I'll take a look at the play again. Buford trying to obstruct Hernandez. He accomplished that. Now the Hernandez throw and the Johnson slide in an effort to reach. And the throw clearly beats Johnson, and the umpire with a fine call. So at the end of a regulation 9 innings, the score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore 2. In Game 6, extra innings, Pat Dobson out of the Baltimore bullpen, and here is Tony Kubek.
Well, I guess we've talked an awful lot about the pressure of World Series play, and right next to this Oriole dugout, it's just a lot of electricity. A little bit of byplay, of course, situated between these 2 dugouts. Johnny Kibler, the home plate umpire, and he's been getting the heat from both sides. Any pitches that are close in the strike zone, either way, are being, of course, criticized by both managers and dugouts. And Kibler has just kept us cool, has not thrown anybody out of the game yet. I don't know how, because he's taken a lot of heat and called a great ball game. Back upstairs.
All right, Tony, the last extra inning game of the World Series with the 4th game of the '69 series. We're now going to the 10th inning. This game tied 2-2, and let's see what happens here in the 10th inning, Chuck Thompson.
Well, the first thing, the Pirates will bring up a pinch swinger in the person of Vic Davalillo. Davalillo will be the batter against Pat Dobson, who started Game 4 in Pittsburgh, went 5 1/3 innings and was touched for 10 base hits, walked 3, struck out 4, and was charged with 3 runs. And that'll be the first out of the inning to second baseman Johnson. Well, the extra inning records of these two clubs are very interesting. Baltimore won 7 and lost 7 in extra innings. The Pirates won 6 and lost 6 in extra innings. And your on-deck hitter, Rich Hebner. Base hit. Frank Robinson running it down. And Cash will hold with a single. Now here is Hebner. After Cash reaches, Hebner has flied to center, popped to short, walked, and bounced to the shortstop.
Number 20, Richie Hebner.
Dave McNally throwing in the Oriole bullpen, and Bob Miller had been up and warming in the Pirate bullpen. 2-strike pitch to Hebner. No, throw to first. There goes the runner. Struck him out. Throw to second. Safe at second base.
Well, this is the 5th stolen base of the series. Cash is injured, by the way, when he went into second. You'll see it at the end of this. Low curveball. Hendricks up. And he injured his hand when he went in there. Dave Cash. Watch his slide now. Looks like he's injured his left hand, his left wrist. And they're attending him right now at second base. So the Pirates have a man in scoring position. They have now swiped 5 bases in this series. They're just 1 for the Orioles. They've been running on Hendricks. And Clemente is the batter.
That is exactly the situation. Here is the great Roberto Clemente. This afternoon, he tripled his first time up. He homered his second time. And then a slide to center and fly to left. And I don't think this surprises anybody. The Orioles are going to give him the intentional walk. In the series, Clemente hitting a resounding .440, 11 hits in 25 trips, and Weaver on the phone to the bullpen. Now there's the intentional walk to Clemente, and Weaver now is out of the dugout. He's got McNally down there. Pete Rickard is just now beginning to toss. I'm not certain whether McNally is ready. I guess that's what Weaver's phone call was about, if he chooses to bring McNally. So far as we can determine, I don't believe he's made the sign yet. But Weaver is going to talk to Pat Dobson. And Hendricks, of course, out there. Brooks Robinson tuning in. Kurt?
Right now, Watt and Rickard are in the bullpen. Dobson's leaving. Oh, evidently, McNally is coming on.
Stargell is 0 for 4 this afternoon. Ball 1. 2 and 1. 3 and 1. This is McNally's first relief since July 19 of 1969. Ball 4. He walks in. The bases are loaded with 2 down. McNally on to get the left-handed swinging Stargell, loses him on the base on balls, and now the left-hand swinging Al Oliver. Well, let's watch Reckmond in center field. And that's it. In the top of the 10th inning, the Pirates, no runs, 1 base hit, no Oriole errors, and 3 are left on. At the end of 9 1/2 innings, the score is Pittsburgh 2 and Baltimore 2. The last half of the 10th inning in Baltimore, as you take a look at managers Earl Weaver and Danny Murtaugh. Bob Miller has come to the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates, replacing Dave Justy, who went 2 1/3. 2 hits, a walk, 3 strikeouts, and no runs. And we also have a new center fielder for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Davalillo, who opened the Pirate half of the 10th inning and lined to the second baseman, stays in the ball game and is playing in center field. And Bob Miller, his record on the year, 8 wins and 5 defeats. And his figures in the World Series, this will be his 3rd game. He has pitched a total of 4 innings, allowing 6 hits, 1 earned run. Without a walk, he has fanned 2, and his ERA is 2.25. It will be for Baltimore, Powell, Rettenmund. Check that, Powell, Frank Robinson, and then Rettenmund. Well, Powell has 1 hit in 4 trips this afternoon. Last of the 10th, 2-2 tie. And that Powell shift, of course, in effect again. Second baseman Cash. 1 gone. And now hitless this afternoon in 4 plate appearances, Frank Robinson. Struck out in the 2nd, flied to right on the 4th, popped to short in the 6th, struck out again in the 8th. Ball 1. 1-1. 2-1. 3-1 now to Frank. And Miller now with a tough pitch to make to the likes of Frank Robinson. He missed it. Ball 4. So with 1 out, the Orioles have Frank Robinson at first base, and Merv Rettenmund is the batter. Rettenmund, like Frank Robinson, 0 for 4, has struck out twice, has grounded to short, and a fine play from second baseman Cash, retired in the 5th inning. Certainly our thanks this afternoon to Alan Roth, our statistician, and Jim O'Gorman, production stage manager. Is going to go to third. The Davalillo's throw. Safe.
Well, we talk about Clemente being 37. Frank Robinson still goes from first to third at his age, 35 or 36 years old. He just beats this one in. He never followed. He ran a second. Here's the throw by Davalillo. Beautiful slide by Frank Robinson. Now watch him all alone. Never broke stride, a mark of a good base runner. Comes on in and puts the winning run on third with 1 out. And the Orioles had runners on first and third, nobody out in the 6th, though, after getting a run in and couldn't score. Well, they've had their chances. Let's see what happens here with Brooks Robinson.
And Brooks Robinson has gone out unassisted to first, singled, hit into a force, and a fine play by Cash again got him in the 8th inning. Out of play. 1-1. 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes.
36 years old. He really went to third on that, didn't he, Chuck?
He really did. Now the tough part for Baltimore, getting the rest of the way, the 1-2 pitch. Watching Frank at third, Davalillo is under it, and shallow. Davalillo's catch. Frank is coming. Here comes the throw. He scores, and the Orioles win.
Ball wasn't hit very deep either. Frank Robinson's 36-year-old legs give the Orioles this uphill victory. As he went from first to third, just made it in. Here it is now. Brooks Robinson gets that ball out of the infield. Davalillo, you'll see, is in fairly shallow left center. His throw is to the left of home plate. And a high bounce, and Frank Robinson goes right under there, is in with a winning run. The Orioles were behind 2-0. Here he is all alone, tagging, and the ball was touched by Davalillo. Throughout his career, Robinson's always been an outstanding base runner. And today we saw two old pros really do it, Clemente and Frank Robinson. The final score in 10 innings, Baltimore, 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors, 2 runs, 9 hits, 1 error for Pittsburgh.
Number 20, Frank.
Now the Orioles face Bob Miller. And with 1 away, Frank Robinson walks. Rettenman up next. And he bounces one through. And look at Frank Robinson shift into high gear.
Batting 6, playing third base, number 5, Brooks Robinson.
That puts runners on first and third. The infield, the outfield drawn in. The contest now, Vic Davalillo's arm against Frank Robinson's aging legs. The Orioles have tied the series up with a grim comeback in what has to be one of the most dramatic World Series games of all time. Frank Robinson fills us in on his determined heads-up base running.
Going in the third, I'm watching that Richie Hebner went to the inside to take the throw, so I knew I had to slide to the outside, and I knew it was going to be close, so that's why I went in head first, and I believe that's the quickest way for me to get there. I'm just thinking now we're on first and third with 1 out, and Brooks coming up. Just know Brooks is going to get you home some kind of way. The main thing when I was thinking about coming down towards the line is I have to score. I got to score. And Manny Sanguin, he went up in the air, so I knew I had to go between his legs and not around it. So it was just a real tough play, but I just knew Brooks would get me in some kind of way.
And so it comes down to Game 7 in the pressure-packed 68th World Series. Now down to Tony Kubek.
Thank you. With me, Brooks Robinson to my left. He drove in the winning run. To his left, Frank Robinson. Frank, with his legs, got into third base and scored somehow, and I don't know how. Frank, that's one of the most thrilling games I've ever witnessed, and that was some kind of base running.
Well, thank you, Tony. It was a tremendous game. It was a must game for us, and we battled all the way. We didn't hit the way we should have hit today like we had in the last 3 games. We haven't hit, but we kept battling, and Jimmy Palmer did a great job. He held them right there for 2 runs and gave us a chance to win the ball game.
Brooks, you know, they talk about momentum, and it seems like you haven't been able to snatch the momentum out of the hands of that Pittsburgh ball club until maybe right now.
Well, that's right. We had to do something, and really, Palmer pitched, you know, it was really, he just pitched great, you know, and that's just about the whole story. And I'm just happy we're going to the 7th game now, Tony, and I'm glad we played a little better than we've been playing, too, so that makes everybody feel better.
Frank, I saw when you got that into third base after rounding second and beating that Davalillo throw that you looked like you may have had a little twinge in your left leg. Did you pull something?
Well, Tony, it's a slight pull in the back of my muscle and the thigh, and I don't think it'll be too serious. All I know is, serious or not, I'll be out there tomorrow. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, tomorrow we've got Mike Cuellar, Steve Blass. What about Steve Blass? You saw him one time. He was very effective.
That's right, Tony. He's got the best stuff on their pitching staff, and so far he's got the best stuff we've seen this series, and I'm sure he'll be ready to go. He was their best pitcher going down the stretch. He got roughed up a little in the playoffs, but he pitched a great game against us, and we know we'll have our hands full. And I'd like to say something about Mike Cuellar. Every time we seem to be struggling along, even during the season, and here comes Cuellar to do the job, and I'm sure that he's going to be equal to the task.
Frank, you know, during the course of this ball game, some strange things happened. The ball bounced over Belanger's head, and a couple of bad hops. A bad hop, too, of course, their shortstop, Hernandez, but he got the ball and still threw the base runner out, and it seemed like things just weren't ever going to turn back in your direction.
Well, it seemed that way, Tony, but with this ball club, we didn't give up, we didn't complain, we didn't drop our heads when those things happened. We just kept battling, and we knew that our pitchers would try to hold them right there, and we figured we'd score some runs and win the ball game. But as I said, we didn't drop our heads. That's just part of the game. He made the play, and it was a tremendous play by Jackie.
You know, Brooksy, I don't think I've ever been as emotionally spent, and I just sat there watching the ball game. You know, there's an awful lot of pressure in World Series play, and it's talked about an awful lot. But today I thought there was a pretty courageous effort on a guy that wasn't even a player, Johnny Kibler, who got heat from your dugout. When he called it the other way, he got heat from the other dugout. He was under extreme pressure, and I thought he called a pretty darn good ball game under the circumstances.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too, Tony. I mean, you know, it's when everything kind of builds up, you know, and everybody's kind of hollering back and forth, and like I say, he really kept his cool, and I thought he did a great job too.
Frank, you said before the ball game, a little interview we had, it's going to go to Lamar. It is, and I'm sure you're just feel great shape mentally right now after having the thing swing in your direction.
Well, that's no doubt about it, Tony. We feel great. We wish we could have wrapped this thing up sooner, but with two great ball clubs like ours in Pittsburgh, I think this does the series justice for both ball clubs to go into the seventh game 3-3.
Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, thank you so much. Good luck tomorrow in the seventh game of the World Series. Back upstairs.
Yes, sir, it's Cuellar against Blast tomorrow. And now, tomorrow, we'll close it off, Chuck, and it's been a home park World Series so far.
And it's my understanding, Kurt, that no team has ever won 4 in their home ballpark, and the Orioles have the opportunity to do that tomorrow, as Frank Robinson told me before the ball game today. He said, hey, kid, don't make any plans for Sunday.
Right. So at the final score again, 10 innings, 3-2, Baltimore wins it. And we'll be seeing you all tomorrow.